Hey there, I am Paul Tillery, creator of the animation and book series Thundercluck, Chicken of Thor. I'm about to do a reading of the first chapter from book 1. This is by request for the Jorvik Viking Center, and really for anyone who wants to listen in. I hope you feel welcome to check it out. So that's coming right up, and I hope you enjoy. Okay. We will start with the prologue. In ages past, in distant realms, in tales of myth and rune, in worlds beyond the one we know, beyond the stars and moon, when evil had a dinner plan and hope was at its end, a hero found his courage in the quest to save his friends. The story of this hero is a little odd, you see, for neither mortal man of earth nor mighty god was he, and now at last the time has come to recollect once more the legendary Thundercluck, the chicken of Thor. Time to be brave, the chicken thought. The volcano towered above. Thundercluck stood on the bridge to Castle Igneous. The chef awaited inside. The bridge was hot, but the chicken shivered. "Bark, bark, bark, bark," he said. Time to be brave, he thought again. My best friend is counting on me. Bark, 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 he thought. Bark, 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 indeed. Part 1, Thundercluck hatches. Chapter 1, The Power Hatch. 12 years ago. Clang! The magic hammer met the frying pan, and sparks erupted in the night. "For the last time," bellowed Thor, swinging his hammer with each word, "you, clang, cannot, clang, cook, clang, Henda, clang." Gorman Bones staggered back, blocking the hammer with his pan. He straightened his chef's hat and apron, and through his mustache he growled, "I'll have that chicken yet. It could be the greatest meal this realm has ever seen." "Never!" Thor shouted. He hammered again, driving the chef away from Asgard's chicken coop. "I've told you already, you crooked cook. I forbid you to broil my bird." Henda, Thor's darling hen, sat on the coop's roof. She cocked her head. Gorman stared at her with ravenous eyes, then glared at Thor. "You're always telling me what I can't do," he barked. He pitched his voice to mock Thor's. "No stealing from the garden, Gorman. No open flames near the cat, Gorman. No cooking people's pets, Gorman. Well, I've had it. I'm going to eat that chicken." Thor narrowed his gaze, his red beard lowering as he frowned. He held his hammer to the sky, and storm clouds covered the stars. "Then so be it, chef. Your fire magic is no longer welcome here. The only thing you'll dine upon," the hammer began to glow, "is thunder." At Thor's command, a lightning bolt flashed from the clouds above. In that same moment, the chef swung his pan down, shooting flames at Thor's feet. The thunder god jumped and stumbled, dropping his hammer to the ground. With a booming crack, the lightning bolt split in two. One branch of the lightning struck the chef, who vanished in a puff of smoke. The other struck Henda, who jolted in the air with a squawk. "Bark!" The bird landed with a thud, eyes wide and feathers smoking. She was shocked and singed, but otherwise unharmed. "The bolt's power was divided," Thor said to himself. "Thank fortune Henda's jolt was not enough to fry her." He looked where Gorman had disappeared. Was the rest enough to slay the cook? Henda blinked, then gave a little wiggle, and with a cluck, she began to lay a glowing egg. "Bark," said Henda. The egg landed beneath her, casting a pale blue light. Thor climbed onto the coop and held his fingers to Henda's cheek. Sitting on the egg, she cooed and twitched her tail feathers. The thunder had woken more Asgardians and drawn them to the scene. At the front of the crowd was Brynhilda, an infant girl with wings. In other worlds, she might have been called an angel or a cherub. Here in Asgard, she was called a Valkyrie. Brunhilde yawned, rubbed her eyes, and squinted. Under Henda's rump, the egg glowed brighter. Beams of light shone through her feathers. A high-pitched hum filled the air, and the egg began to wobble. It quivered at first, and then shook so much the whole coop rattled. Henda remained seated, wide-eyed, shaking and determined to keep the egg covered. For a moment all went dark, and then a thunderous crack sent Henda flying through the air. The egg had hatched, and in its shell sat a baby chick wearing a horned helmet. His feathers cast a golden glow. He gave a little chirp, and a tiny lightning bolt shot from his beak. Henda fluttered back to the coop and stared at the baby bird with Thor. All the Asgardians were still, except Brunhilde, who trotted to the newborn chick. She patted his fluffy feathers, and he chirped with glee, emitting a burst of sparkles. Brunhilde giggled. She poked his beak, thought, and said, "Thundercluck." Later that night, the castle of Asgard was peaceful once more. Brunhilde rested her head on her pillow, and Thundercluck snuggled beside her. Henda snoozed by the bed. Thor stood on the balcony, wiping the soot from his hammer. The god smelled smoke, but he saw no fire. A chef's hat drifted before him, and a voice whispered, "You haven't seen the last of me." And the hat vanished in the wind. All right, so that was the first chapter of book 1. And if you want to know what happens next, I hope you'll check out the books. Thanks, everyone.